The main resource in this type of war that Russia is waging against Ukraine is manpower. The tactic of constant attacks by waves of infantry on fortified positions of the Ukrainian armed forces leads to enormous losses of the Russian army, especially in the last 3 months, in each of which, according to the Ukrainian General Staff, the Ukrainian army has eliminated over 20,000 Russian servicemen. According to experts, Russia is driving itself into a dead end with these tactics. The army needs a new wave of mobilization, but this could be dangerous for political consequences.
Russian troops need to compensate on average more than 50,000 men per month, both in killed, wounded, prisoners and rotational needs. But Russia is currently unable to provide such compensation for losses, and somewhere around the end of May, beginning of June, it will face a dilemma: either declare mobilization or make conscripts in a fairly accelerated format.
Every day, the Ukrainian armed forces destroy dozens of units of Russian military equipment. The Russian military-industrial complex is unable to cover these losses, despite its enormous expenditures. According to Forbes, Russia spent over $114 billion on the war against Ukraine in 1 year. High-tech products cannot be produced in the necessary volumes because of sanctions restrictions on the supply of components, and the stocks of the old ones have either fallen into disrepair or they have simply been stolen. They try to explain the total corruption by subversive activities of traitors. For example, the Federal Security Service of Nizhny Tagil detained a couple of Uralvagonzavod employees. They were allegedly spying for Ukraine.
As a result of a special operation in Nizhny Tagil, 2 Russian citizens were detained who had sent military and technical information which could be used against the Russian armed forces in a special military operation to the Ukrainian special services for a money reward. Items of spying activity were seized at the suspect's place of residence from the message of the Department of the Federal Security Service of the Russian Federation in the Sverdlovsk region.
Attempts to justify all failures by the ever-present Ukrainians undermine the already weak morale of Russians. For example, on the eve of the upcoming counterattack by the Ukrainian armed forces, victorious rhetoric has even disappeared from the studios of state propagandists. The so-called Pentagon data leak did not help the situation either. The document of uncertain origin contains information about the needs of the Ukrainian armed forces in March and fake casualty statistics. Representatives of the Ukrainian army and the leadership reacted calmly to this event.
The aim of secret data leaks is obvious: divert attention, cast doubts and mutual suspicions, sow discord. It's an ordinary game of the Russian secret services to take open briefings, add fake info or certain parts of interceptions and publish them on social networks, legalizing the leak. Mikhailo Podolyak, advisor of the head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, on Twitter. Over the past decades, the most successful operations of the Russian secret services have been photoshopped. From a preliminary analysis of these materials, we see false casualty figures on both sides. Some of the information was clearly gathered from open sources. If we talk about the needs of the Ukrainian army, the topic has been much discussed at all levels. Everything else we will wait for official comments, but there is no reason for the Ukrainian society to worry. Andriy Yusov, representative of the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, on air of the all-Ukrainian telephone.
But there is a new wave of panic in the Ostankino studios. Many of the so-called experts on the Russian propaganda show believe that the published documents indicate a huge amount of Western support for Kyiv, and the propagandists' fear are unfounded. In recent weeks alone, a number of large packages of military aid to Ukraine have been announced. Among them is a record-breaking one, more than $2 billion from the United States. Reported by Roman Smoler, Danilo Kobza, UATV.